Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, December 7th, 2016. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. Continuing their efforts to offer efficient and effective mental health services here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Ministry of Health on Tuesday, December 6, 2016, reopened the doors of the Mental Health Rehabilitation Center in the Villa area. It is hoped that the center, which underwent substantial renovation work, will aid in the enhancement of mental health care here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Nikita Tony has more in this report.
Costing some $4 million in renovations, the Mental Health Rehabilitation Center was reopened today, Tuesday the 6th of December 2016, at its location in Villa. Under the 10th European Development Fund EDF Modernization of the Healthcare Sector project, the refurbished Mental Health Rehabilitation Center will house some 200 patients, comprising of 150 males and 50 females. It features refurbished psychiatric units, staff areas, and seclusion rooms. Senior nursing officer at the center, Sister Diana Bailey, in her remark, thanked the government of SVG, the European Union, and all other stakeholders for their investment in the MHRC.
This refurbished facility offers friendlier spaces and greater physical comfort for staff and patient alike, thereby facilitating a therapeutic milieu. We must therefore strive to provide more acceptable standard of care, from custodial to therapeutic to rehabilitative and reintegration back to the community.
Pointing out that the European Union, through the 10th EDF, has made a massive investment in SVG's health sector, Area Representative and Minister of Sustainable Development, Camilo Gonçalves, appealed to the Vincentian public to try to understand the plight of those suffering from mental illness.
People who suffer from mental illnesses are in any way less than people who suffer from other illnesses or citizens in general of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the facility is only one part of the equation. There are issues to deal with staffing, issues to deal with medication, issues to deal with continuing care, issues to deal with supervision of those who do not necessarily have to be institutionalized but may suffer from mental health issues.
Outlining that the issue of mental health is one that is not only of concern to the government, but the overall Vincentian society, Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Luke Brown, said that the government aims to carry out legislative reform on the Mental Health Act. Outlining that the issue of mental health is one that is not only of concern to the government, but the overall Vincentian society, Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Luke Brown, said that the government aims to carry out legislative reform on the Mental Health Act.
The Mental Health Act, under which we are currently laboring, of 1989 is clearly outmoded. The draft replacement Mental Health Act is on the desk of the Attorney General. We are determined that our laws on this subject must be relevant to the times and consistent with our human rights obligations. The investment in the renovation and upgrade of this psychiatric hospital was necessary, desirable and important. But in this new age of mental health care, we must also place some emphasis on the further strengthening and development of mental health services at the community level.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonçalves thanked the management and staff as well as the patients of the Rehabilitation Center for their patience and hard work throughout their time of transition, and stressed the need for persons to realize their responsibility to their health as well. The Prime Minister noted the government's plan to integrate mental health into SVG's primary healthcare system through the proper training of healthcare professionals within the communities.
Even inside of the home, sometimes the mother and the father don't want to accept that their child has an issue. And sometimes the recognition is late, where either some harm has been caused to that person, or some member of their family, or somebody in the community. In that way, we could early detect certain things, We can early detect certain things, and we can save the life of the person and we can save life or limb of other people.
As the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to take the issue of mental health seriously, the Rehabilitation Center is intended to provide temporary mental health treatment and care to all patients, aiding in the delivery of healthcare services in SVG. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
Thank you, Nikita. As the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment continues to place emphasis on the modernization of SVG's healthcare sector, a call is being made for more work to be done in improving patient care. Speaking at the reopening of the Mental Health Rehabilitation Center in Villa last evening, Minister of Health Luke Brown, when commending the MHRC's management and staff for their continued dedication and hard work, highlighted the ministry's efforts to fill the position of a psychiatrist at the facility.
I ask each of you to strive for even higher standards still as we aim to improve further the quality of patient care and build public confidence and trust. I would like to inform the public that the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is doing its best to ensure that we have all the healthcare personnel required to address the needs of persons with mental health challenges. One of the positions which currently needs to be filled is that of the psychiatrist. There was in fact a psychiatrist on staff until late 2014 when she left to take up employment elsewhere on the local scene at a medical school. The search for a replacement since then has been hamstrung by a chronic regional and international shortage of doctors formerly trained in this specialist branch of medicine. Nevertheless, we seem to be on the verge of an important recruitment breakthrough, and it is our hope that our ministry's success in this matter will redound to the credit and advantage of the state. In the meantime, I thank our officers who have been standing in the gap and holding the fort.
Reiterating his government's commitment to enhance the delivery of mental health care in SVG, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves stressed the importance of having a trained psychiatrist on hand for the benefit of the Mental Health Rehabilitation Center as well as the country.
The salary we have here for the psychiatrist, we can't get one, is $116,868 for the basic pay. Then they have some traveling allowance, and they have some housing allowance and entertainment allowance. This is their basic salary. And we can't get somebody for $117,000. You hear what I'm telling you? And this is why they're trying to work out immediately arrangement with somebody who is in Barbados to come as a consultant 2 weeks, a month or something like that until we can get a permanent solution. That is what I've been advised.
Over $2 million EC dollars are expected to be invested in the annual Christmas Roadwork program here. Speaking on the radio on Tuesday, Minister of Transport Works, Urban Development and Local Government, Julian Francis, noting that due to the recent weather conditions, the roadwork, which usually commences in the last week of November, is off to a late start this year.
All that was happening and the amount of rains that were falling, it was just totally impossible to send persons out there to start cleaning. But there will be a cleanup program in those areas that are badly affected. And I am speaking specifically to Buckerment, Cumberland, Chumuka, Rose Hall, Rosebank, Darkview, Richmond, and some areas in Chateaubriand and Mariquois. We have had a problem in Mariquois for the longest while, which the waters just would not give us a chance to fix it. We know what the problem is for those persons in Mariquois. The culvert just before the gas station, the under the road culvert, the underground culvert, collapsed and has created a blockage underneath there.
Senator Francis said following a discussion with Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, the funds have been located and a special nationwide cleanup program is to be launched soon.
Prime Minister and I have had some discussions on it, and the resources are being finalized. to start this cleanup program. I mean, when you drive through Sandy Bay and Darkview and Rosebank, and you see the mud, the silt that has come down in people's houses, around the houses, in their yard, by the roadside in front of them, it is depressing. I know how you feel about it, and I mean, I know we have been through it before, but it's something you can't get accustomed to. I mean, we saw it in 2011, we saw it in 2013, and now we are experiencing it again in 2016. Bukament, as I say, has suffered 5, maybe 6 times since 2013, and before that, there used to be some flooding down there, but the rains are coming heavier.
With a trough system reportedly approaching this country, concerns are that more rains may further weaken unstable environment conditions, particularly at the northern end of the island. SVG-TV Sharon Garway earlier today went along with a team from VINLEC to the shelter at Sandy Bay, where donations were given to those who were affected by the passage of the recent trough system.
The cleanup process after the November 29th and 30th heavy rains and flood due to a trough system is still ongoing in the North Windward area. On our journey to the northern side of the island, many road gangs were seen clearing the roadsides, linesmen facilitating the reconnection of electricity poles, and workers from the Central Water and Sewage Authority ensuring that damaged pipes were fixed. According to Minister of Transport and Works, Julian Francis, continuous efforts are being made to get back the area to a level of normalcy. He outlined that there are mitigations in the event of another weather pattern.
It is the volume of water that's creating a lot of the problems. I mean, this bridge, you wouldn't believe it, that we cleared under this bridge just before the 29th flood. And we had got this down with a clearance of about 13 feet under the bridge slab. And now it's only about 7 feet under the bridge slab. So it means in the last flood, this filled up on approximately 6 feet. So we have to constantly manage this and to keep, because there's no way we can stop the sedimentation because of the looseness of the soil upstream and the volume of water that's coming down the mountainside.
Building Roads and General Services Authority Bragsa representative Dylan Morris explained that the damage requires extensive rehabilitation, and his team has been working tirelessly
to try to restore most of the roadways that were damaged and the landslides, clearing of the landslides and so that came down after the trough system. We have currently 60 road gangs out in North Windward with around 10 persons each per gang, including timekeeper and road driver. We have several pieces of equipment stationed at different points, and the gangs are also stationed at different points where the damages were severe. So our hope is to try to restore the entire carriageway from Georgetown straight up to Fancy.
One resident recollected the horrific details of the damage the trough system brought and said she is thankful to be alive.
We never see the river this wide, and we never experience the water, that much water coming down here, right? As you can see there is where the water go both sides. So when we buy our window, me and my husband was standing by the window, but after that time I just left and I went inside. Then he come and he called me and say, Jen, how is gone? I said, Jen, how is gone? He said, yes. And then the bath go after, the old bath.
The rehabilitation process has not only been about the physical environment, but from a humanitarian standpoint through the support of a number of persons, groups and organizations, including the St. Vincent Electricity Services Limited, VINLEC. With their theme, Power with Heart, you can see many of the VINLEC workers ensuring that care packages are prepared and shipped off to the residents in the area. This shows that a company is not only about making money, but ensuring that they give back to members of the society. On site at the Sandy Bay Government School, where some of the families have been impacted by the weather pattern and have now been temporarily relocated, Principal Hepsy Roberts says that there were some 30 families on site at the shelter, but at present, less than 10 remain. She said that her team has been trying to ensure that everyone is comfortable. The VINLEC employees were only too glad to hand over a quantity of some $15,000 worth in items, and the goods included 50 food baskets, 50 tubs of household items, 30 mattresses, 30 sheets, and 60 pillows, which they distributed to residents at the shelter and later to other areas in the community. With $15,000 worth in items, the Vinlec company has shown that sharing is caring, and the families that are here at the Sandy Bay shelter are really appreciating the items. Reporting for SVG Television News, I am Sharon Garraway.
Lawyers here are being advised to be cautious and make further inquiries when dealing with persons in relationships who present deeds of ownership for wills, as they may not be free to give away co-owned properties. Speaking on the December 5th episode of the Law and You program on Monday night, Using Wills to Cheat Co-Owners, Campbell explained though property deeds may disclose a sole name, a spouse may be the co-owner.
Notwithstanding, a person presents a deed in his name alone. Once the person tells you he's married and the wife is alive, you have to make inquiries as to the status of the marriage. And you have to be sure that the wife knows what the husband is planning to do. Otherwise, you will allow yourself as a lawyer to become an instrument of fraud.
The Queen's Counsel advised that life interest claims should not be substituted for shares, as this does not transfer ownership.
Life interest is not the same as a proper interest in property, because when the wife dies, her life interest dies with her. If she's entitled to a share in the property, leaving a life interest to her doesn't say anything at all, doesn't mean anything. Her share cannot be alienated by the husband who has set out to cheat on the wife and her beneficiaries in terms of property. I don't mean cheating in the sense of adultery. So saying you are giving the wife a lifetime, a life interest in the property, if on the facts of the case she is entitled to a proper share in the property, is not saying anything at all.
Campbell emphasized that lawyers should remain vigilant to anything deemed unusual when dealing with wills, stating that they have the responsibility not to assist in fraud of that kind. Girls High School and St. Martin's Secondary School will clash tomorrow in the finals of the 2016 Secondary Schools Drama Festival. Cultural Officer Martin Kwashi is encouraging the general public to attend tomorrow's finals, which will be held at the Peace Memorial Hall from 3 p.m.
Tomorrow, Thursday, is the finals of the Secondary Schools Drama Competition, and the St. Vincent Girls High School and the St. Martin's Secondary School will be competing for Champion of Drama in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I'm encouraging everybody to come to the Peace Memorial Hall to see the clash between the Girls High School and the St. Martin's Secondary School. It would be worth coming. It is free. You don't have to pay anything. Just come in with your good manners, sit and enjoy a day of drama at the Peace Memorial Hall. It begins at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And following the competition between high school and St. Martin's, we'll have the presentation of the awards ceremony, where the individual actors would have their, their trophies and certificates be given out. So it is a good clash, the St. Martin's and Girls High School, and we expect people to be there.
Kwashi, however, expresses his disappointment in the participation of the number of secondary schools in this year's competition and calls on the Ministry of Education to help rectify the problem.
Okay, the participation in the Schools Drama Festival I'm not too pleased with, because we had almost 14 schools expressing their desire to participate in the festivals, but each day they calling us and telling us that they drop out. And it just reached to 5 schools performing, and I am not pleased at all with what's happening. I know sometimes we call the principals to find out what happened, and they keep going around the bush. Merry go round, come goat henny, and up to now they ain't telling you anything. So I think the Ministry of Education has to revise that program to see what is happening and to put something in place. I know what is supposed to be done, and so, but I keep giving them the format to make it successful all the time, but they're not accepting it. And it's time enough now for people to, come to the realization that we have to, be supporting the youngsters of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The cultural officer also expresses his disappointment with the attendance of members of the public throughout the festival at the various showcases, noting that a lot of hard work has been put in to ensure that the festival is a success.
Not a one-way street. Everybody has to come in and do their part to make sure that this thing goes on in the future. In terms of the attendance was not so good either, because they have the rains and all that, the trough systems, and so in fact we had to postpone 2 days of the festival, and so this year was not too nice so that I can smile. I would not smile much, but we have a lot of work to do if we have to make sure that this festival is sustained into the future.
The Department of Labor, in collaboration with the National Insurance Services, the NIS, will host an Outreach Day activity tomorrow, Thursday, December 8th, under the theme, Knowing Your Rights, Fulfilling Your Obligations. The one-day public activity will target both workers and employers as the department seeks to create amongst them a greater awareness and understanding of the laws and practice relating to employment and labor, and also to assist them in knowing what are their employment rights and obligations respectively. At tomorrow's event, members of staff of the Department of Labor and representatives from the NIS will be on hand to answer any questions and address any concerns that persons may have dealing with issues such as probation, severance, employment contracts, vacation leave, 100 days, notices, termination, summary, dismissal, sick and maternity leave, overtime pay, working hours, among other areas. Information brochures and other materials will also be distributed during the outreach. The Outreach Day will be held at the Ministerial Building car park from 10 in the morning.